Oh, I gotta try the move. I gotta try the move. Here we go.
Thank you, but we're about to die again if we don't shoot
Oh,
that thing
baby, a
down.
triple. That was beautiful.
Nice.
What's up, guys? My name is Ace, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Overwatch. This is a game that I've played for the past week now. I've put a fair amount of hours into it, and I feel like it's finally time for me to give my thoughts, because I know a lot of people have been asking me lately, should I get Overwatch? Is it a good game? Is it worth the money? So first, for those of you guys that don't really know anything about Overwatch, I just wanted to go over like a brief description of what the game is and kind of how it works. So it's a team-based multiplayer FPS. It's multiplayer only, there is no campaign mode, it is strictly multiplayer, and it's 6v6. And the biggest thing about this game is its characters and their abilities. This is really where the game shines. There are tons of characters to choose from. All of them have their own abilities, all of them have their own amount of health that they have, and everything seems to be balanced quite nice. So like if you have a really fast character, for instance, they'll have very low health and they don't deal a ton of damage. Or you might get the big tanky sort of characters that are huge, but they move very, very slowly. They're massive targets, so they're easy to hit. And everything seems to balance quite well in that area. And every single one of these characters, or heroes is what they're called, they all have their own unique abilities and they all interact quite well with each other. A big thing to know with this game is it is a very team-based game. It's not like Call of Duty where you can be kind of that one-man army. Even though you're in a team-based game mode, you can just be that one guy that just absolutely destroys anything and you don't need any help from your teammates. You definitely need to work together in this. And if you don't select the right loadout, for instance, you're going to make things very difficult. And by loadout, I mean you have enough support players on a team, or you have a sniper on a team, and you don't all stack up on like one type of hero. I'm not saying it's impossible to win like that, it just makes things more difficult for sure. You really have to balance things out, and a lot of strategy also plays into this, because certain heroes will help each other out in certain ways, and like for instance, if you play a game without a support hero or a hero that can heal you, it can be very, very difficult, especially against another team that's dealing a lot of damage. So that's where a lot of the strategy lies. It's a very team-oriented shooter, and you have to make sure you balance your characters well. As for game modes are extremely simple, and there's really not a lot of variety. You basically have 3 types of game modes, and then there are 2 game modes that kind of merge together into its own game mode. So essentially there's one where you have to just capture 2 areas. So one team's defending the 2 areas, the other team is capturing the 2 areas. You have to capture them in order, so you go over and you basically just stand in the area. By standing in there, you capture it, and then you move on to the next one. If you capture both on the attacking team, you win. If you're on defense, all you have to do is make sure the enemy team doesn't capture before the time runs out. Very, very simple there. The next one is escorting a vehicle. So you just escort this vehicle from point A to point B. Very, very simple as well. You hit checkpoints along the way. And then the next one is the combination of the two, where you have to capture one area, and after you capture the area, then you can start escorting the vehicle. And again, there might be a checkpoint or 2 mixed in there before you get to the final. If you escort all the way, you get the win as the attackers. And then finally, there's another game mode, which is somewhat similar to like Hardpoint, for instance, in Call of Duty, except it's like a fixed location. Basically, both teams start on either side. There's no such thing as attackers or defenders in this. You're both just attacking this one objective area, and by standing on it, you get more points to your team, and first to 100 points wins that round. And then it goes to a second round where you're on a different part of the map, and you do the same thing over again. Next up, we have map design. I think the maps in this game, like the setting, the scenery, as well as the art style, I think it's beautiful. They look great, but my issue with them is they are extremely simple. There isn't much emphasis as far as strategy on map design. Yes, there's a few little intricate things you need to know about some of the maps, like a couple lines of sight where snipers tend to set up or something along those lines, or choke points, something like that. But overall, it's very, very simple. There isn't a whole lot as far as like big flank routes or anything. I'm not saying flanking's impossible, it's just not really designed for that like big movement around the map and onto your enemy's flank or anything like that. The gameplay is really geared towards the heroes themselves and how they interact with each other. It's not too much about how you navigate the map, it's more so about how you play to the strengths of your hero. So that pretty much sums up what Overwatch is. You can see from the gameplay also the art style is a bit on the cartoony side, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I really think it looks cool. I think it fits well with the game, and I like it. It still has a bit of a gritty feel, which is nice, while still being cartoony. So now let's get into a few of my opinions here. So Overall, the core gameplay is really, really fun. I love how the heroes interact with each other and how they're balanced with each other. Once you get used to it, you start to know like what you can do with your heroes, what your limitations are with your heroes, how to use their abilities properly and in what situations. And that really brings a lot of variety to the gameplay as well. You can have one hero completely mastered and you can dominate with that hero. But if you change to a different hero, it's like a whole new game. You have to basically start from scratch, learning how that hero works and what that hero's limitations are. The next point I wanted to mention is something I talked about a little bit already. It's a very team-based game, and therefore, if you aren't playing in a party, if you plan on playing this solo, it can be very, very challenging and very frustrating to play as well. If you just get that stubborn team that refuses to run a support player, for instance, to help heal people, it can be very, very frustrating. Or on the other end of the spectrum, if everybody picks healers or something, then you're completely screwed. Like, you don't even stand a chance if everybody chooses a healer. Also, communication is very important in this, and I found that you really have to pair up heroes well. So, for instance, there's like a really powerful combination where you can use Reinhardt, which has this giant shield that blocks all enemy damage and everything, and then you can have a Bastion behind him, and Bastion like turns into a turret, and he deals insane amounts of damage, but he's kind of a sitting duck. But if you have this shield guy in front of you, he can block all this damage, and that's an excellent team strategy that works very, very effectively. If you don't have this communication going on your team, you're going to get dominated by other teams that do. Getting on to the next topic, this is something that I really like about the game. It always makes you feel as though you are contributing and you're helping in whatever role you decide to take. If you're a healer and you're going around, you can play an entire game without getting a kill as a healer, but you can feel like you've really done something to help the team, and you feel really accomplished. It's not like you're going to end up on the bottom of a leaderboard or something. It actually ranks you like how much healing you did, and that's really what you're judged on, is how well you play your character. So I really like that. Also, a very rewarding thing about this game, which it wouldn't work in a lot of other games, but it definitely works in this game, is assists count as kills. So if you deal some damage to an enemy and then he gets around a corner and one of your teammates finishes him off, you get a kill, but so does your teammate. You both get a kill awarded. So everybody's getting lots of kills all the time because you don't actually have to deal that killing blow to the enemies. As for my opinion on the art style and everything, like I said, it's pretty cartoony, but it also has that little bit of grittiness to it. And I really like it. I personally enjoy it. I know it's not for everybody. I know there's a lot of people that take one look at the gameplay and go, nope, that's for kids, or that's just not for me. I want a more realistic type game. And that's totally fine. Me personally, I think it's really cool. It fits very well. And I really like the art style in this game. As for my final verdict, I think it's a great game. It has excellent core gameplay, very, very enjoyable, very rewarding, and there's a lot of depth when you look at how the characters work and how they interact with each other. I really, really like that about the game, and that's really the main focus of the game, like I said. However, the game is only multiplayer. There is no campaign whatsoever. I feel like the game modes are really lacking. It feels like you're doing the same thing. Doesn't matter which map you're on. It feels like you're just doing the same thing over and over again. And like the maps look different, but they all kind of play the same because there's not much map variety. The maps are too simple in my opinion. And therefore, it can start to get stale pretty quickly. I think another thing that contributes to this, which I haven't mentioned yet, it just popped into my head, is it doesn't feel like you are really rewarded for leveling up. Yes, you earn random loot drops that give you like different skins and stuff, and those look cool, but you don't really feel as though you're being rewarded as you level up. There's no challenges you need to complete. There's no like specific gear unlocks that you get. You don't unlock skins just for leveling up as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure it's all completely random. You do generate like a currency which you can buy skins with eventually, but that's just basically by putting in gameplay time. And overall, I feel like that's a huge area in this game that's lacking. After a while, it sort of just seems like you're going through the motions. You don't have that bigger picture goal in mind as you're playing. It's not like you're working towards camos or something like that. You're just playing the game to play the game. And while the gameplay is very rewarding, it's not that rewarding in my opinion for a long period of time. So for me, even after just a week, I've noticed when I started getting into the bit of a longer gaming session, like 3 hours or 4 hours or something like that, by the end of the gaming session, I was really feeling like I was just going through the motions. Like I said, I was just playing the same thing over and over again. The map variety doesn't really do anything for me. There's no real game mode variety, or not much for game mode variety. All the varieties in the heroes themselves And sometimes you just want to play with a certain hero that you've already done very, very well with and you understand, and it just gets boring over time, I find. Now, this isn't to say that I'm going to be completely giving up on this game and I'm done with it and I'm never going to play it again, but it does mean that it's not a game that I see myself playing very often, like all the time, once this initial hype dies down. Of course, I'm still playing it a few times a week, most likely, is what I'll be doing, but that's probably going to drop down to maybe like once a week or maybe even once a month, and then eventually I don't think I'll play it at all. And the simple reason for that is I feel it gets a little bit stale. So now for the big question, do I recommend this game? It depends. It really depends. There is no yes or no answer. You have to look at the game for yourself, watch some gameplay, take my opinions into consideration and people's opinions in the comment section below. So if you do have this game and you've been playing it, please let me, as well as anybody that might scroll through the comments to get some other opinions, let us know what you think of this game. Do you agree with some of my opinions? Do you disagree with some of my opinions? Do you think I'm completely crazy and off on some areas? Please let me know and let everybody else know as well so they can make a more informed buying decision. One big thing I'll say is I don't feel like it's worth the price tag for consoles. So for consoles, I believe it's selling for like $60 American, which is a standard AAA title cost. But there's no campaign, it's strictly multiplayer, there's not a ton of maps, there's not a ton of gameplay variety. And for me, I just feel like it isn't worth that full $60. Now on PC, I've been hearing that it's only $40 on PC. I could see it being worth more like $40 American. I feel like that's much more reasonable, but the full $60, I don't really feel it's worth that. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you guys next time.